welcome back to another video. In case you can't tell, we are not in our caravan. More on that later.
I was hoping to surprise them and
surprise.
think that this was the inside of our caravan. It's this new, like, super spacious.
Yeah, it's not. It's a tiny little cabin and it feels absolutely massive.
It's so big in here. There's doors. It's amazing.
What we are going to talk about in this video, though, is just a recap. We've just hit 4 years of full-time travel around Australia this week. So we're going to run you through a bunch of different stuff, pretty much our most asked questions, and a bit about what the plans are for the future for the channel. So we're going to be talking about what a typical week looks like as a YouTube traveling family, how much money we make, how we make our money, how we make the whole thing work.
How do the kids do school?
School is a big one. What just a typical life looks like for us. We're going to share some of our biggest things that we wish we knew before we started traveling, or things that you can add into your list of things to tick off before you travel.
And the best and worst parts of traveling, like just the real and raw. So let's dive in.
Yeah, and before we do, and what we miss most from living in a house, and what travel, when are we going to stop? When is this all going to come to an end? And what is
Surely
life?
you can't still be going.
You can't keep traveling forever, and what's going to happen then, and what that all's going to look like. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all that sort of stuff. Alrighty, so like we said, we are not in our caravan. We're currently in a caravan park in Melbourne, in a cabin. We've moved out of our home.
Where's our caravan,
Only
darling?
a few days after picking it up. So as we mentioned last week's video, for those that missed it, our brand new caravan is going in to get a wrap. Getting vinyl wrap put on the outside, some PPF, getting a bunch of stuff wrapped on the inside as well, which is really exciting. It's coming, it's almost done. We're hopefully picking it up tomorrow. But yeah, we can't wait to show you all that. That's going to be in next week's video.
I really like it. I'm really happy. My little 1 centimetre by 1 centimetre square sample looks really good on a wall. I'm stoked.
So yeah, we're here at the Big Four in Coburg. We've been using this one a fair bit lately because it's north side of Melbourne, so it's pretty close to Campbellfield, Epping, the sort of caravan epicentre of Victoria and kind of Australia. Cabins just mean we can self-cater, we've got a bit more space, we've got all the facilities of the caravan park. This one's got a cracking swimming pool, a bunch of other facilities as well, like a playground and stuff. So it's been really hot here in Melbourne, so we've been smashing the pool. The kids have been loving that, and it's good for the kids' social and stuff as well, just to be hanging out in van parks.
They've been very much needing to hang out with other kids lately.
Hotels as a family are not a fun thing.
No, God. Yeah.
All right, so should we dive into the first one? So let's talk a little bit first. So like we said, this is just going to be some of our most asked questions. And after 4 years of travel now, we thought it'd be a good time to do a bit of an update on the channel, what's going to be happening with it, what the future plans are, but also just a little bit of a reminisce, a bit of a trip down memory lane at some of our things that we've learnt along the way. And
do you know what I think is funny?
What's funny?
You only told me like a week ago when you were talking about how we were saying that our 4-year anniversary was coming up for traveling, and I was like, look at you, like, you can pretty much park the caravan anywhere now. And he was like, yeah, but when I first did it, like the very first time, you were like, I was literally shitting myself as we drove out of the caravan dealer.
Yeah.
And we literally almost picked up our caravan, our recent one, almost like within a day of our 4-year anniversary.
Yeah.
And you're still shitting yourself?
No.
No?
No, it's like riding a bike.
It's not like riding a bike. It's brand new.
Yeah, I don't get nervous about it. You do get very used to towing. I mean, towing, I actually feel it feels more weird to me not be towing these days. But I've got to say, I mean, I think something that I think is a big misconception for us about the way we travel, and that is just about how quickly we move, how much we see of things. You've got to remember, not everything gets filmed. You guys, we try and show you as much of things as we can, but it's also always typically going to be a bit of a highlights reel because, frankly, as we've often said in videos, it's not that fun to watch for you guys to watch us working and homeschooling and doing all those mundane things. But yeah, a typical week for us, actually, we only spend about 2, maybe 3 days, sometimes only 1 day a week actually traveling or sightseeing or going out and exploring stuff. Yeah, because by the time we get through all those things, school and work and everything like that, that's about all that's left. So it's kind of not that different to a typical working week in some ways, because we're kind of only just sightseeing for a weekend, like 2 or 3 days a week at the most. But it's far better, obviously, because we're doing it in all new places all the time. And in between that, we're still camping in beautiful places. We're just working while we're there. So what is work for us? Because we often mention this in videos.
People are like, what do you do? What do you do for your job? I'm like, We do this for a job.
So I
this
guess-
is a full-time job.
Speaking of full-time jobs, our previous employment, before we started travelling, this is a question we get a lot too,
Oh my
that
God.
I actually had forgotten about. So we do like to make people guess when we see people at caravan shows and things. We just did the Melbourne Caravan Show a couple of weeks ago, and we got this question a lot. But I am a tradie. I was a metal roofer for many, many years. Before that, I was actually a landscaper. And
Before that, you were a car salesman. Before that, you
yeah,
were
we won't go too far back. But
retail management.
before we started travelling, most recently I was in construction management, project management type role. Liz?
I was a primary school teacher, and then I've recently also studied and have completed a Cert 4
So for?
in interior decoration, which
Still
is very...
higher than any qualification I have. So now our business is media production. So obviously you guys see this side of things, the YouTube stuff and all of that. And that forms a big part of what we do.
Yeah.
But it's not all that we do. So I was going to pull up the figures for...
Pull them up.
I was going to show actual figures, of our YouTube revenue, just to give you an idea of why we have to do other things outside of YouTube. So if I just go to our analytics now, so outside of YouTube, we do a lot of other media production stuff, and what we want to try and avoid, and we've always been very careful about this, is although we do some paid sponsored content that you guys would see integrated into our YouTube videos, like paid reviews and promotions and things, we really try and minimize that as much as possible, because we're very aware that you guys don't want to see a whole bunch of ads and whatever else on YouTube. But it is a fact of the matter that we have to fund the channel somehow. I can't manage to pull it up on my phone, so I'm going to pull it up on my computer here. So this is the lifetime of our YouTube channel. So as we said, the YouTube channel's almost 4 years old. We didn't quite start the YouTube when we started traveling, but
It took us 6 months to actually work out how to produce an episode.
months. It was a couple of months. Anyway, it was
It's like June.
so the life of the channel is $68,391.36 to date. So if you
Over 4 years.
So-
So it's not a huge amount of revenue from ads.
So it's average is about $17,000 a year. But we also, I mean, to make that $68,000 from YouTube, we would have spent over that 4 years, I haven't added it up, but it would be in the vicinity of $20,000, which might sound like a huge number. But when you consider we've got 4 cameras, we're on our second drone, we've got 2 laptops,
Video editing subscription, photo editing subscription, audio subscriptions,
music subscriptions,
they just
it all
stack
adds
up.
So I mean, it's not something I would get into if you want to just start a YouTube channel. I mean, maybe you'll be better at making money than we are.
You might be much better at it
But
than us.
that'll give you some idea. So that's we've got just over 30,000 subscribers now. We've had 3.8 million views in that time across the channel, 650,000 watch hours. And there you go, 32.3 thousand subscribers. And that's how much money it generates. So in case you can't tell, $17,000 a year less all the cost isn't enough to run it. But we obviously do it because we love it. We don't do it because it makes us a lot of money. But it has allowed us to build a business off the back of that. So when I say media production, what it essentially means is majority of our income comes from generating content for brands that you guys wouldn't see on our channel or on our Instagram or Facebook.
Every brand that exists needs content for Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and it is really expensive to hire a videographer to go out into the desert, take your gear with them, and then edit some video footage.
Well,
so content creators,
you can just pay a couple of amateurs like us a pittance of that, a fraction of that, and get something that's nowhere near as good, but it'll do the job. No, I should
what a pitch! Let's put that in the next.
So we do catalogue photos, we shoot ads for businesses, we just website photos. There's a whole range of different things that have come off the back of doing what we do that have put us in the spotlight, that have built. So we've got quite a good client base now of brands that we do that for.
And it's usually, to be honest, the brands that we already have their gear.
Yeah.
Because going to a post office to collect gear, to time that with somewhere where you're going to be in a good location to film and shoot, and then send it back, or then have to carry it and then try and on-sell a product, it is just not worth it. So we really only do it for gear we're currently using or gear that we actually need.
Yeah, that's right. And then another way we make income is through affiliate and discount codes. So as many of you would know, on our website, we've got a bunch of different discount codes there. Again, all gear that we use, all gear that we trust and that we know is good quality stuff. We put discount codes there for you guys to use, so you guys can save a few bucks on them, but we also get a commission. Like anyone you see sharing these codes, we get a commission, which is usually equivalent to the discount that you're getting. So you get 10%, we get 10% is generally how they're structured. Some are a bit less, some are a bit more, but that's pretty much the average. And that's pretty much a fixed marketing cost for that brand. So we sort of become their marketing outlet in a way. We send customers to them. You guys get save a few bucks, we get a few bucks for that as well. So if there are products that we have on the website there that you are looking at buying, it does help us out if you guys use those codes and it helps you as well. So we see it as a bit of a win-win. We don't push them too much. We mention them at time to time. But
if you want them, they're on our website.
If you want them, that's always the best way to find them is on our website. And Liz puts them in the newsletter from time to time as well when there's new ones and things like that, or new products that we're testing out. So you can make sure you sign up to that newsletter as well.
Yes.
And you get all Liz's little newsletters as well, which is just something else that takes up some of our week when we're working the week. So Liz sort of looks after the newsletter.
Yeah, I look after the newsletter, the Instagram and the Facebook. Yeah. You do jump in because it does, like, getting back to people is almost a full-time job now. Yeah. And I would love to get back to every single person, but if the boys need me, the boys need me, and I'm always going to put those guys first.
So apologies if we don't get back to you, but it is across all.
I'm ignoring you. It's just me.
And across all the platforms and email and DMs and everything as well. It is. We do our best to keep up with it, but apologies if there's any of you out there that we haven't gotten back to.
Yeah.
And
Patron is another source of income that we have.
Oh, I was going to tell them what I do first for the business. You told them what you do.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I'll come back to our Patron. But yes, I do. We both do the filming, a lot of the filming. Liz often, obviously, when I'm driving and when she gets out of the car and runs up and down hills and stuff and films me driving stuff a lot of the time. I do most of the drone flying, so that's normally when we swap drivers. A lot of people say they don't see Liz drive much, which she doesn't drive heaps.
I don't drive heaps, but whenever it's gnarly, I'm driving because Simon's flying a drone.
But it means we don't have a camera.
There's never any footage of me.
It's something I want to work on this year is mounting a camera in the car. So a GoPro or something so that you guys can see me with the drone controller and Liz driving and the conversations that go, because they'd be a hoot. That'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, and then I do all the editing and stuff for YouTube as well, and then Liz just gives me the final sign off before it gets uploaded, generally late on a Saturday night when the sun's going down.
Yeah. And then we argue for another 2 hours about what to put on the thumbnail.
Yeah, that's
which is the bane of YouTube.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Thumbnails are the worst. Okay.
But then, as Liz mentioned, Patreon is also another income source, which we do really appreciate those that support us. So that's just a way for people that want to support us financially, support our content, but also get a bit more behind the scenes, a bit of a look into
answering questions.
Yeah, we do live calls as well, jump on live with patrons. We try and do a few of those a year, so we jump on live and answer the questions live and just have a good bit of banter. It's just all a bunch of other people that have the same passions and interests as us, so it's always good fun, and it's not just us talking, it's always a bit of a shared sort of thing. Everyone shares their stories and stuff. They're a lot of fun, so that's something we really enjoy doing as well, and we do appreciate those people supporting us. What's that?
They're all friends with each other now because of it, and they'll send us photos of those guys all catching up together. I'm like,
we do meetups from time to time as well with our patrons, which is good. So then obviously that's the work side of things, and then outside of that we also have 2 kids, so we've got to maintain their schooling or do their schooling. Luckily we've got a school teacher in the family, not that she loves that, but I do.
I know.
So I do very little of the schooling. I jump in and give a hand from time to time, but
what's that? Are you trying to film an episode? Did someone just start a lawnmower?
Oh, mate, there'll be a lawnmower. There's a storm rolling in. There was people doing burnouts before, so you get it all. But welcome to Coburg, eh? We don't actually do homeschooling, we do distance ed, which is different, right? And so why do we do distance ed?
The main reasons that we do distance ed is because they send out all the paperwork, they do all the planning, they give you all the resources, and they do daily Zoom calls with the kids. That means that the kids have a teacher that they chat with every day, and they also have classmates. And the beauty of Outback Distance Ed is that those classes are really quite small, so it's a small teacher to student ratio. So Harrison used to have 1 to 2, and I think the biggest ratio they've had is like 1 to 6.
Yeah.
So
So ours
amazing ratios.
So our boys do
really good for our kids.
School of the Air, which is what they also. So there's also station kids and stuff on there, but they'll have a specific travellers program, which is great because it's a bit more flexible. They don't have to be on the calls, but they're there if they want them. So it works really well for us. We know a lot of people that homeschool as well, and that generally people say Victoria's probably the place to go. But you do your own research on that, and I think if you're travelling for 12 months or less, I probably wouldn't worry about it.
I would not do distance if I was only doing a 12-month lap, purely because it is still a large amount of work.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it as a lifestyle change, it's a really great option.
Yeah, so I mean that's pretty much makes up a big chunk of our week. Like most people, work and school, people with kids at least, work and school makes up a big chunk of the week. But what we really love about it is not only is it flexible what days we work and what days we do school to a point, it's also flexible what time of day we do it. So we can still fit in exploring in and around that. And I think one of the big challenges that we've learned over the last few years is just making sure we keep the balance of that right. Like any small business, we could work 24/7 and still have more we could do, and we could also spend the entire day with the kids and not make any money. So it's got to and travel as well. So we sort of look at it as the three pillars. We talk about it as the triangle: work, kids and school, and travel and exploring. And just keeping those three in balance is really the biggest takeaway I think that we could give of the last 4 years is no matter how you're travelling and whether you're working or not, but just keep your life, figure out what's important and the things that you want to make sure that there is in your travel day and travel life. You can't travel and see and do everything all day, every day, 24/7, 365, even if you're not working or not schooling. It just wears you out. So just make sure you keep that balance, and that's the big takeaway.
I think you'll notice when it's not right. You'll feel it. You'll be shirty. You'll be short-tempered. You'll be all the things. You'll be like, did you seriously leave the overhead cupboards open again? And you're like, oh.
Tea bags, lose them everywhere. Hopeless. Okay, so if that's what a typical week looks like, how much longer are we going to keep travelling for? This is another big question we get all the time: is how much longer can you guys keep doing this?
Usually, my parents keep asking that question.
And is there an end date? Look, there's never been an end date. Well, from very early days, we scrapped the end date, and that went out the window. But there's never really been an end date. We've always sort of said, as long as we're enjoying it, as long as the kids are enjoying it, and as long as we can keep doing it financially, etc., we will keep doing it, and that's still the case. I mean, at the moment, we've got the next. I mean, as you guys would have seen last week, we just picked up a brand new Caravan, so we're definitely not stopping anytime soon. We've got at least the next 12, 18 months mapped out in our heads, roughly, of where we want to go and things we still want to do. But there's stuff even beyond that. So yeah, look, there's a long future for us. I think it'll be the kids, particularly Harrison. He's getting a bit older. That'll probably stop us. You reckon?
I think so.
I think the signs are there. Like, we're not there yet, but I think the signs are there that maybe he'll be.
We just need to travel a little differently.
Yeah, we need to slow down.
We can't go super remote for super long time.
Yeah, the kids get lonely of other kids other than playing with each other.
And it's good. Like, this year we've got the East Coast planned basically, so there'll be a lot more kids. Yeah,
so let's talk about that. So the plan this year is what we're really trying to do, and it's been a bit tricky because we're in Melbourne now. We've got a wedding to go next week, and then we've got my 40th coming up in a few weeks, and we're going to be flying out for that.
Day over 30, duh.
Yeah, I know. I hope it will. But yeah, what we're going to be trying to do this year, if we can pull it off, is we're going to try and go from the southernmost point in Wilson's Prom. So the southernmost point of the Australian continent, mainland Australia, sorry, Tassie. Mainland Australia's southernmost point at the bottom of Wilson's Prom to Cape York, the northernmost point, is the plan. But we're not going to go along the coast, as you guys would expect. We're
How many times do you reckon we've tried to do a river run and it's been flooded?
So we're going to try and do the Darling River Run, and we're going to do a bit of the Murray and stuff as well. We love our inland freshwater rivers and stuff, and I've wanted to do the Darling River Run for years. I reckon this will be the third or the fourth attempt.
I think this is attempt number 4. So if you want it to rain near you, just let us know. Send us.
We haven't really filmed that before, but we've lucked out a few times when we've had planned to do the Darling River Run. So I really want to get that one ticked off. Then we're going to be up in southeast Queensland around sort of late May, June, into that sort of part of the year, and then get up the Cape. And again, we're not going to get up the coast. We'll probably go up the inland and do some cool stuff up there. But that's the rough plan. And then we've got to get back down south after we've hit the Cape.
Because we booked in a snow season.
Yeah. So
we've committed to that, and so we're going to go and make the most out of the it's expensive, so the longer you go, the better value it is. So we're just going to go get as much value as we can out of a snow season.
So we're going to hit the snow again, which is something we haven't done for a few years. We're going to take the van there. We're going to spend some time in the van. We've also got a week of accommodation booked, which is going to be magic. But yeah, that's going to be the plan, is to do a snow trip this year. We've missed the snow, and yeah, it's time to get back to that. So it's going to be not a whirlwind, it's going to be a big year. So we're going to do quite late in the season for the snow. So we're back down there sort of early spring.
Yeah.
And do some snow, and then that's kind of as far out as we planned it. This so far, we've got other ideas of what to do, but
and even now, even as we say these plans, anything could happen. Like there could be weather events, there could be emergencies. Who knows?
You never know. We're often reluctant to talk about it on YouTube because I often feel like then we're constantly changing our plans and we forget what we've told people and we forget what we've got to update people, and people ask, oh, I thought you were doing this. But look, that's the rough plan. I hope we can make it all happen, but the biggest lesson, again, one of the biggest lessons from traveling for 4 years is you got to be flexible. And the more flexible you can be, and the more flexible you can and open-ended you can keep your plans, we find that's our preferred style of travel, and the less stressful it is. The more we book in, the more stressful and more difficult it becomes. And
the more you have to book in. So I would even say too, I really have enjoyed, even though we were only in our new caravan for just like 2 sleeps, just having a power system that was set up for us and how we live is just noticeably different. When we had the lone van and it was just like a standard amount of solar, standard amount of lithium, it was like we had to factor in charging up. So we had to go to caravan parks, and it changed the way we travel.
It couldn't keep up with our lifestyle.
It could not keep up with our lifestyle, but we just adapted to it, which was sometimes great.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh, well, I'm just paying to stay in a caravan park. I'm just going to pop the aircon on and just like use all the power. But then other times it was really frustrating to have to leave.
Yeah.
And leave those plans because you had to factor it in. So
because that is one of the biggest challenges of traveling full time. And people often say, what do you miss most about living in a house? Well, there's couch. There's long showers, long hot showers.
Doors.
There's doors. But generally it is just resource management. Even just being somewhere like where we are now in this caravan park, in the cabin, I can turn the lights on, I can run 240 volt, I don't have to turn the inverter on and off, I don't have to keep checking the battery percentage.
You're not worried about those clouds and what that rain's doing and
checking
what
the weather forecast is for tomorrow. Where we're next going to get water, diesel, all those sorts of things. So that is something that I'm looking forward to not having to do, but I also love that that's what we think about that a lot.
I was going to say, we often say that resource management is sometimes the best and worst part of travel. It's the worst, it is just constantly using so much of your mental energy, calculating fuel, water, resources, groceries, all the things. But then the other side is that it puts a focus on your actual like hierarchy of needs. But actually focusing on your basic needs is what your biggest worry is. But then the flip side of that is that you're not stressed about the small stuff that you used to stress about when you're at work.
Yeah, it keeps things very much in perspective.
In perspective, because I think you would just stress about the same amount of stuff either way, but at least this way it's like actual important things.
Like we often say, your biggest problem is your biggest problem.
Your biggest problem is definitely your biggest problem.
You're always going to be worrying about something, or there's always going to be something, and I'd much rather be worrying about things that actually matter, like where we're going to sleep tonight, or where we're going to get our next feed,
or how long the water tanks will last.
Yeah, then who's picking on my kid at school, or all that stuff at work, or whatever it might be.
Yeah,
100%. I get asked a lot about how does it feel weird to point a camera at yourself and talk to a camera. Yes, it does. We've been doing it for a long time now, and it still feels very weird, and I still feel awkward doing it in public places, and I still feel like everyone's looking at me when I'm doing it, but I love that. The day that this feels normal to talk to a camera, I'm going to go and check myself in to get looked at, because I think it isn't normal. It's a very 21st century thing. It's not normal, but it is something that we really do enjoy, and we know all of you out there enjoy it. And it is weird looking at this tiny little thing on the front of a camera and imagining thousands of people on the other side of that watching us, and we see you, or we see us, I should say, on this tiny little screen. And then we know lots of you watch it on this giant big screen. So I'm sorry about that. We'll try we'll try and zoom out for the next one.
Yeah.
So we're a bit smaller on the screen. Anyway, that's just a random tidbit for you.
Oh, can I also just jump in?
Video's
one more
finished.
thing. This thing on Simon's nose is a scar.
Yeah, yeah.
Lots of people
are very concerned about that.
And I like that they're genuinely concerned
No, it's
about your
lovely.
health. It is really, really beautiful.
It is a
Simon
scar.
has a scar on his nose, and some of our cameras pick it up more than others. And
different
it
lighting.
is 100% fine.
It's what happens when you're cheeky at the pub. You get taught a lesson.
You step in to help people.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. I was being the good Samaritan and got taught a lesson.
Yeah.
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 But
anyway, thank you to everyone. We probably get one comment a week.
I have had it checked by a GP. It is fine. It is just a scar.
Yeah. Simon gets it regularly checked by
It's fine.
our GP.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Thanks for your concerns. Anyway, so what is life going to look like for us? We have no idea. Where are we going to stop? Where are we going to settle down? We don't really know. We dabble.
I like WA. Simon likes Victoria.
We like
both like the mountains.
We do like the idea of buying some land, a bit of property, not necessarily in town, but then we keep backflipping on that idea as well. So,
and
jury's out. Who knows?
we tried to buy a block of land.
Oh, we did, last year.
Yeah,
and it didn't work out,
No.
unfortunately. So, there's stuff. There's always those sorts of things floating around. But I mean, for now, we'll probably just buy something to hold on to if we do, and and somewhere to go back to when we finish traveling. But we're enjoying not having any property, any financial commitments of that sort of thing. So that'll probably last for a little while. And that's about that. So look, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Something a bit different for us. We're actually gonna pack up from here tomorrow morning, go and pick up our van, fingers crossed. There's been a couple of delays there. There's a cyclone in Brisbane that caused some issues, and a long weekend in Victoria that extended anything. Anyway,
F1
these things
is on.
these things, and F1's on this weekend. So look, this is pretty much real time that we're filming this. You guys will see this Sunday. It's like Wednesday or Thursday today. So look, it's this is what real life looks like at the moment, and these things always are more complicated and take far longer than you think. It always seems like a great idea at the time, and it will be when it's all done, but there's always just this chaos in between. We're going to take off to the Titanium Owners Rallies this weekend up in Bright, Popunka. We're going to see a few of you guys there, which we'll have already seen by the time this is out, but good to see you all. And then next week, we're going to show you a bloody wrapped van, and just spoiler alert, it looks unreal. It looks.
Love it.
Oh,
I love it.
It looks even better than I could have imagined. It looks wicked. So can't wait to show you that. Thanks for watching this one, guys. If you've got any questions, any comments, anything like that, leave them down below. Let us know your thoughts. Make sure you enter that competition. Don't forget to
subscribe to the newsletter, like and
the YouTube
follow
channel.
the channel, and we'll see you next week.
See you next Sunday.
I think it's time for me to go burn all bridges. All I know, I got lost along the way, fell between the phones.